Take Dark Souls combat and boss fights, mix it with the extraction tension of a game like Dark and Darker, add MMO-style classes, loot, and build crafting. The result is Mistfall Hunter. A dark fantasy PvPvE game releasing in just a few days. I played the beta, and after experiencing how fluid the combat feels and how quickly a normal run can turn into complete chaos, I'm genuinely surprised more people are not talking about it. So what exactly is Mistfall Hunter? It is a third-person dark fantasy extraction RPG. You enter into a dangerous area either alone or with a 3-player group, fight increasingly more difficult enemies, collect equipment, resources, and eventually attempt to escape with everything you have found. But other players are also included in that same area. That means every fight, every boss, and every valuable piece of loot comes with the same question. Do you keep pushing on for something better, or get out before another team takes everything from you? And yes, before we go any further, this game has the big bad word, PvP.
Shut the fuck up, I will fucking laser you with alien fucking eyes and explode your fucking head.
Now I know after saying those 3 little letters, PvP, people are gonna get rage baited to the max, but I want you to know that the devs are gonna bring you a PvE only mode, so if you want to wait to buy the game then, that's perfectly fine, but at launch, there will be PvP in solo and trio lobbies. In my opinion, I think this game is centered around PvP, and with having a PvE only mode kind of defeats the purpose of extraction in general. Just like you may as well play just a standard RPG where you keep all the stuff that you have, like Elden Ring. It kind of defeats the purpose of playing an extraction game, in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. The first thing that stood out to me was how fluid and reactive the combat feels. Attacks have weight. Abilities feel impactful. You have dodging. Some classes have a parry mechanic, and every class will be managing their skill cooldowns. You actually have to aim your attack similar to something like a New World, RIP New World. You have to understand your weapon's range, predict where other players are moving to, and decide whether to commit to an attack or save your resources and abilities for the next exchange. That creates a genuine skill ceiling. A more experienced player can win through positioning, timing, and cooldown management, not only because they've entered the match with just stronger gear. The parry and dodge systems also make fights feel reactive. You're constantly watching the other player and trying to recognize what they are about to do. Do you dodge? Do you attempt to parry? Do you interrupt them with your ability? During my beta experience, I did not run into any type of questionable hit registration that can often frustrate me in a Souls-like PvP game. If you guys have played Dark Souls, you guys know what I'm talking about, like phantom hits. You hit somebody on your screen, but it doesn't register. That's one thing about this game I did not experience at all. When I landed an attack, it generally felt like I had earned it, and when I missed it, I understood why. Obviously, the full release will be the real test, especially with more players and different connection conditions, but the combat foundations feels extremely promising. So the Sorcerer class works incredibly well playing solo because you have a lot of access to mobility, stealth, and different types of burst damage spells that you can kind of pick and choose how you take your engagements. Meanwhile, a class like the Seer using the Reverent spec, it's not going to be that great solo, but if you are playing in a group, you can provide a lot of healing, protection, and crowd control to your enemies. And because each class has its own strengths and weaknesses, team composition is going to be a major part of this game. So another cool thing about the classes is they're going to release with 2 different weapon variants. Most of my time spent on the beta was playing the Seer and the Withered Knight. Now the Seer completely changed the playstyle between the Reverent and the Blasphemer. With the Reverent, you're like a range support healer focus build, but the Blasphemer, you're like a melee brawler that has a lot of healing debuff and staggers and different snares and area of effect attacks. So on the other hand, the Withered Knight, during the beta, it only had access to 1 weapon, and that was a 2-handed greatsword. While I really enjoyed the simplicity of it and its combat animations and playstyle, after a certain point, it kind of just got really repetitive and felt like it was lacking a little bit of depth, and it most certainly was. On the full release just here in a few days, they're going to come out with the polearm and shield kit for that class, and if the Mercenary or the Seer have any reference to what they can do with different playstyles and how drastic they could be with the 2 different weapons, I think the Withered Knight could definitely be a lot of fun with this new weapon type, and I can't wait to try it. So something else I wanted to add to this class section that I think is vitally important for people looking to buy this game to be aware of is right out of the gate at level 1, you do not have the full picture of how the class is going to be played at close to max level. I know that it seems obvious when you say that out loud, but whenever I was playing Sorcerer, I was like, bro, this class sucks. I really do not like this class. Its lower level spells are honestly not the most fun to use. But my friend was a higher level Sorcerer, and I seen bro going invisible, having speedy boots, and it was overall looked like a lot of fun. And honestly, the lower level Sorcerer gameplay is not fun, and maybe that's something they could fix later on, but once you get to more higher level, it gets a little bit better. But I wanted to help manage expectations for you guys if you are looking to buy this game, is if you do like that playstyle, I think eventually once you unlock all the skills and the passives and abilities, and you can make a full complete build, but being a little bit lower level, it can have some pain points and be kind of frustrating at times. The PvPvE element of Mistfall Hunter is another reason why I'm excited about this game. When this is handled correctly, PvP with a little bit of PvE involved creates situations that a normal PvE game simply cannot reproduce. That is cold hard facts. Let's say you're fighting against a very difficult mob. Your healing resources are running low, your abilities are on cooldown, then you hear another player. Now the entire situation changes. Do you continue fighting the NPC? Do you retreat? Do you try to use the mobs against the other players? Or do you wait for both sides to weaken each other and be a third-party rat? And that is why, in my opinion, the PvPvE formula is far superior than both just standard PvP and a PvE game, because it blends both aspects and takes, the collecting, looting from PvE and adds the risk with PvP, and it just makes a thrilling experience that this game does very well. So here is a perfect situation of why I like the PvE/VP aspect of this game. So me and my friends here, we are killing a boss, and we take it out, we get the loot, and my friend here is a guy on the outside. So we go out there, see what's going on. There's a full team outside. My friend hits a gnarly headshot on one of them, makes him retreat, and then it's a 2v3 for a little bit. And then the other guy comes back eventually later, but we wipe them all out and kill them. Shortly after that, there's a completely different team, I guess, that heard the fighting going on. And we fight them as well and kill them and get their loot, and then we extract. But please do not judge me for my ability to play the Seer. I am a complete noob. This is like my second game at it, so I'm still trying to figure out how the gap closer works and when to use it and where to use it, because I would always just whiff and go way too far and would not hit anybody, so I look like an absolute garbage can. I honestly don't know how to play the class, so it's probably a little bit true. This is one of my first group v group PvP experiences I had in this game, and it was thoroughly enjoyable. We killed the boss, we killed 2 different teams, just had an overall lot of fun and was very hyped after this match. So another aspect of this game that surprised me was the character creator and how in depth it was. You can start off with the template and you can adjust your skin type, skin glossiness, your eye color, your hair color, different hairstyles. You could put tattoo on your body wherever you like. It was just insane. I mean, for me, I'm a gameplay focused player most of the time, but a character created like this really wowed me. I mean, all of the customizations, the skin textures, everything just looks awesome. And if I'm being honest, most extraction games, and heck, even most MMOs nowadays, don't even hold a candle to the amount of character customization that this game offers. Especially in a game where you may spend hundreds of hours collecting gear, I think the extra personal touch makes a little bit of difference. And lastly, the part that could give Mistfall Hunter the most long-term depth is the build crafting. There are different skills, passive bonuses, equipment traits, and class-specific options that allow you to shape how your character plays. You're not simply looking for the item with the highest damage number. You think about how multiple bonuses work together. Do you build around survivability, cooldown reduction, mobility, status effects, burst damage, sustained pressure, or even support abilities? This is where the MMO and action RPG influence becomes especially noticeable. 2 players using the same class may end up with different builds depending on their chosen skills, equipment, and traits. That should give players a reason to experiment rather than immediately copying one universal setup. Now, of course, the full release will need to have enough viable option to prevent 1 or 2 builds from dominating everything, but based on what I experienced, the potential for theory crafting is absolutely there. And I already know that build guides, class combinations, and strange off-meta setups are going to become a major part of this game's community. What excites me about Mistfall Hunter is not just one individual feature. It is the way all of these systems interact. The deliberate combat makes every fight engaging. The class system gives players different roles and play styles. The PvPvE structure creates unpredictable encounters. The extraction system makes your decisions meaningful, and the build crafting gives you something to experiment with between runs. None of these ideas are completely new on their own. Putting them together inside of a dark fantasy extraction RPG gives Mistfall Hunter an identity that feels different from most multiplayer games releasing today. This game appeals to me in multiple different ways with the Soul-style combat, the MMO classes, and build crafting. And honestly, the list of RPG extraction games that fit in the MMO type of space are very short and limited. The only one I could really think of that's prominent is Dark and Darker, and I think Mistfall Hunter is heads and shoulders above that game. I'm not saying that Dark and Darker doesn't do some things well, but I think the overall polish of Mistfall Hunter, the graphics and gameplay are just far superior. Now, I think the bones of Dark and Darker are okay, but there's really some drawbacks, and I've personally really tried to get into that game, but the combat was what really held me back. Like, it just wasn't fun. I don't like that style of combat. It's just not me. I like the more action RPG MMO focused combat, and that's why Mistfall Hunter I think draws to me so much, is that there's no other game like it, and I think that it does very well at what it's trying to do. I think Mistfall Hunter still has some things to prove. The full release needs to have good balance, stable servers, consistent performance, and enough content and a reason for players to continue returning after the initial excitement wears off. But after playing the beta, I genuinely believe more people should know this game exists. The combat feels strong, the classes are distinct, the build crafting has real potential, and when the PvE enemies, other players, and extraction pressure all come together, this can create some incredible moments. Mistfall Hunter releases in just a few days. I'll be covering it with beginner guides, class breakdowns, builds, and actual gameplay. Let me know your comments. Is this the first time you heard about Mistfall Hunter, and what part interests you the most? The combat, the classes, the build crafting, or the PvPvE? And that's going to do it for me, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.